Thank you all for coming. Today's presentation is going to be on the basic principles of numerology. In order to understand this, we'll be going through a few ways to apply these principles to your own life and your own spiritual practice. Let me share my screen. All right. So last time we went over how to process karma using the law of karma and using the law of attraction, and how to manifest using the law of attraction, of course. The difference between white and black magic. How to change your vibration by changing your language and upgrading essentially the way that you talk to yourself and the way that you talk to others. Developing this understanding and this understanding of these principles, as well as the symbology and this love language, as we call it. Developing these different frequencies of the heart that we call these different emotions that we can freely choose to create, like love and trust and gratitude and appreciation, forgiveness, acceptance, truth and honesty, these things that are choices for us. And then we went over how to know that you're connecting, how to know that you are getting into a deeper state of meditation, and how to connect to your intuition. So what we were going to go over and start going over are different methods of connecting to the intuition and listening to our intuition. The first one, which we're going to start with, is numerology. So how to use numerology to connect to your intuition and essentially get the messages that your soul is trying to communicate so that you can live your life and make better decisions according to the guidance of your heart, which is what your soul is trying to tell you. So let me make this bigger. Here. Numerology is a bigger thing, just like astrology, that can be applied to everything and used more or less depending on how it works for you. But essentially, though, you can use numerology in order to change, again, the way that you're talking to yourself and the way that you are communicating with yourself in your own mind, and the way that you're communicating with your intuition, communicating with your soul, communicating with the universe, communicating with God, whatever you want to say, however you want to put it. So different numbers that can be used that we're going to actually go through right now, and you're going to each individually calculate for yourself using your own information about your own self or your own body, essentially, your identity. Are the life path number, the name or your name or destiny number, your soul urge number, as well as your personality number, and what these numbers mean. And then we're going to go over individually how to look at the different numbers, what the numbers mean, make some connections with these numbers and various other intuitive ways of looking at these numbers and understanding what these numbers mean. But it's important to understand that we're just looking at these numbers to give an example of how we can use astrology and use the numerology, and the principles of numerology can be applied to everything. They can be applied to every word and every number that you see. And you can use these principles in order to better be able to understand and understand and communicate with the guidance that your intuition is doing its very best to provide. And your understanding of what this means will come and develop over time as you practice this. So it is a practice. It's not something that you will receive messages from within the first day or so or two of looking into this, but it is something that with practice you will learn to receive guidance from and to make more connections between things to live in a more connected reality. So the first number that we're going to go over is the life path number. And this, I would say, is probably the most important of the numbers that we are going to be looking at. And the way that we're going to calculate this is by using our date of birth. So I'm showing you my date of birth here on the screen. And you can see my date of birth is July 5th, 1989. And the way that numerology works is that we are going to be reducing this phrase or number down to a single number, and then interpreting that in order to get the vibration of this phrase or number. So depending on what you're looking at, everything has a vibration and everything has a number, and everything can be interpreted in such a way, including your date of birth. So my date of birth being July 5th, 1989, what we're going to be reducing that to is we take 0 and 7, add it together, we get 7. We get 0 and 5, add it together, we get 5. And we add 1, 9, 8, 9 together. 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 9 is 27. Then again, we reduce that. 2 plus 7 is 9. And then 7 plus 5 plus 9 is 21. And 2 plus 1 is 3. So all of these numbers here, especially 21 and 3, will have a meaning. So you have 1, 2, and 3 in this 3. And this life path number of 3 indicates something for my life in particular. So what I want you to do right now is take your date of birth and calculate your life path number, and you're going to write that down for later. So I'll give you a few moments to do so. Again, you're taking the month, the day, and the year, adding the numbers, each individually, the units together, and reducing it all down to a single digit. The only exception would be if you're reducing it down to 11, 22, or 33, then you can keep that as such. And I'll explain why later. So I'll give you all a minute or so to do so and make these calculations for yourself. Hope it's not too much math, too many adding of single digits. You got it though? Okay, so if anybody's does anybody have any questions on this, on the life path number before we proceed on to the calculating the next number? If anybody has any questions, please unmute yourself and speak up.
My question,
yeah.
What date of birth do you take? You know, one, the real one, or the other one that your parents put in there?
Oh, you take whatever your real date of birth is, whenever you were actually born.
Okay.
Okay.
Shiv, Dad has a question.
Yeah, please.
Did you unmute yourself? Don't do that.
I haven't unmuted.
Okay. So, Shiv, my question is, Would you unmute yourself? It works.
Okay, I can't hear either of you now.
Okay. So my question is the year, you have to add all the digits of the year first.
Yeah.
And
It doesn't
reduce
really
to
matter
some-
how you add it up. It's all going to be, you just add up each of the digits and it will all reduce down to the same number.
Okay.
So just add up all the single digits. So like, and then whatever you get, you keep reducing it down to by adding the digits until you get a single digit. Or 11, 22, or 33. Does that make sense?
No, don't follow it.
You're not following?
No, no. Let's start all over.
Okay, so what you're doing is you're taking the month that you're born.
Yes.
Let's say it's July. What's your birthday?
November 4.
November 4th. Okay, so you take November,
Yes.
He's echoing, no?
right? And then 1 plus 1 is 2.
Shiv, you're echoing.
No. You have to fix it.
Okay.
Then you take 4,
Yes.
and then the year is what?
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Now I got
Okay,
it.
so
Okay.
2 plus 4 plus
Yes.
the digits of the year.
Yeah. Okay. So, yes.
And
I
then you take that and you reduce it again. If it's over 10,
yeah.
down to a single.
How do you reduce?
So if it's
15.
40,
I have
if it's 23, if it
Yeah.
all adds up to 23, you reduce that 23 to 5.
Okay. Okay.
Because 2 plus 3 is 5. Yes?
Okay. Then 6. Okay. I got 6. Okay.
6. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm a 6. Oh, well, I'm a 3 actually, but I have a lot of friends who are 6s. So we'll go through what that means. But now hopefully each of you has a life path number and you've written that down. Mine, for example, is a 3, which we'll go over in more detail. I have a little bit of it written down here in terms of, it's basically the energy of the sun. You have 1, which is the energy of the father. This again is related to this sacred geometry that we went through. It's all interconnected. So you have 1, which is that father. You have 2, which is the mother energy. And you have the 3rd energy, which is the child energy, the sun energy. And this is a creative energy. The planets associated with this energy are Jupiter and Mercury. So Jupiter is all about expansion, right? And Mercury is all about communication and expression. And so really what this life path 3 is all about is communication and expression through creativity. And I mean, there are issues with this life path that can be difficult, and everything has a, every path has its difficulties and has its strengths, just like with your astrological sign, for example, which we'll go through on another day. But with this life path 3, again, there can be a tendency for an individual with a life path 3 to be a little too creative sometimes, not even grounded in reality, a little too much in the imagination, in the mind, a tendency to be not really practical or to be too in the moment, to not plan enough and have a lack of stability and structure. So there does need to be an awareness of this when you do have a life path 3, so that you can do your best to make up for that by making sure that you take the time to plan and making sure that you take the time to create these structures, and that you focus on that on creating that stability in your life that is needed in order to be able to allow for something to be created over time, so that you don't get too up and down with this energy of being ungrounded and too in the moment, and not unable to carry things through. So with this energy, that it can be nice that there can be a lot of talent and ease of communication that comes with it. So a lot of people with a life path 3 tend to have a good amount of talent, and an ability to speak without filters, which can be good and can also be bad, because it can cause disturbances in one's life. It can cause relationship issues, for example, if you are saying something that's a little too blunt, or something without a filter, you may have to learn how to handle this tendency, and how to be a little more careful with your words, and learn how to plan and time better, and how to make best use of your talents, which you might have to learn how to discover. They might be strange talents, so you might have to take some time to explore and really learn how to discover what these talents are for you, and then how to be able to turn those talents to use them, and to be able to create a life that is able to support you. Because this energy is, again, that energy of the sun, that energy of that expansive, childlike, creative energy. So that's what this 3 life path is all about. And then we have, and that's what the number 3 is really all about. So we'll go again into more specific numbers if your life path is not 3, so you understand what your life path is all about. Then we have another next number that we're all going to be calculating for ourselves. And this is your destiny number. And this has to do with your name. So my name is Shiv, as you know. And the way that you calculate this number is with this graph that I have on the lower right-hand corner. What you're going to do is look at the letter and look at the number that's associated with that letter. So, right, you have S, which is associated, as you can see here, with the number 1. Right, and then you have H, which is associated with the number 8, I, which is number 9, and V, which is number 4. Yes? So you have 1 plus 8 plus 9 plus 4, which is 22, which is reduced to the number 4. But with the number 22, we don't reduce that, because it's what's known as a master number, and we're going to go over what that means. But 11, 22, and 33 are the numbers that you don't have to reduce down to a single digit, and we'll again go over why. But I want you all to take the next minute for your own name to calculate your destiny number.
Why don't you take a paper and pen, sir?
I'm doing it in my mind.
Oh, wow.
So if anybody has any questions on how to calculate the destiny number, please let me know. Please speak up.
I got a question.
Yes, please.
My real name is different from the given name. Which one should I take?
Calculate both, because they'll both give you information.
Okay.
Shiv, how do you add the numbers up again for your name?
So you just take each letter, and you go down to this graph that I have. Do you see it says Pythagorean numerology on the lower right-hand side?
Yeah, so I did that. I'm just wondering how you add them up.
Oh, you just add. So I have SHIV, right? With S is 1, H is 8, I is 9, and V is 4. So 1 plus 8 plus 9 plus 4 is 22. So for me, my destiny number is 22. So for you, just add up those numbers.
I get 25, so I make it 7 then?
Yes, yes. All right, so now that everybody has their destiny number, the next number that we're going to be calculating is the soul urge number. And this is where you take your all of the vowels in your name, and you just add up those. So the only vowel in my name is I. Oops. The only vowel in my name is I, which is the number 9. So that's mine.
Vowel is mine is what? E? I don't know.
So your destiny number, what that is indicating
You.
is
Nawal.
the character and inner strength that you must cultivate in order to best achieve your life path.
I only have E.
The soul urge number, what this is indicating is the desire that is in your heart, which is what your soul wants to experience. And then the last number that we're going to be calculating is your personality number. And this is calculated via taking all of the non-vowel letters in your name, all consonants, and adding them up. So S, H, and V, 1, 8 plus 4 is 13. 1 plus 3 is 4. So for me, 4 is my personality number.
Is 5.
Which again tells me
Is 2.
what sort of personality
Which is 8.
I must focus on being really in order to best achieve my life's path.
24.
Shiv, is 11 an okay number to have?
Yes.
I didn't know if I had to reduce it or anything.
No. So again, at the bottom here, I have written the master numbers that you don't have to reduce to single digits are 11, 22, and 33. And don't worry, if you don't have any master numbers, don't worry, you're still master. It's not a, it's just a, it presents a opportunity as well as an obstacle in your life when you have one of these numbers. And it also means that your life is sort of dedicated to the service of others. And you have one of these numbers, master numbers. So,
Shiv, I have a question on that.
yes, please.
Well, you have in the life path number, you have
Yes.
21 equals 3.
Yes.
But if that 21 was 11, would you not go to 2?
No. So you'd keep it as 11, and we'll go over why.
Okay, so you would not change the 11 to a 2 in that
No,
5.
because that is one of the master numbers.
Okay.
Yeah. If it was 12 or 13, then you'd go to a 4. If it was 14, you'd go to a 5. But yeah, with 11, 22, and 33, those are the only numbers you don't reduce. All right. So I hope everyone now has a life path number, a destiny number, a soul urge number, and a personality number. And again, if you have multiples of these numbers, that's fine. It can just tell you, like, for example, yeah, if your name changed at some point or you changed your name, that can tell you something about why your name changed at a certain point in your life. Okay, so this information will come to you intuitively when you analyze the change in the number. So let's get into the specific numbers now. We'll start with the number 0. I guess here I first put a little bit about understanding what the intuition is in terms of that it's a way of communicating between aspects of the self. So what we're doing when we're exploring numerology and astrology and tarot and other sorts of ways of communicating with your intuition, as long as we are in a state of meditation and we understand the difference between self and non-self, then we are able to develop a language to communicate better with ourself rather than simply in yes or no, which is where we start. We start off with simply just yes or no, and that's okay, just a binary communication. And that's where everyone starts, is just with yes or no, and that's simple as that. And you don't really need much more than that, really. But when you're developing a more precise language to communicate with your soul, that is where astrology and tarot and numerology and all these other practices, as well as simply the practice of meditation itself, can come into play, so that you can develop that language of the way of understanding oneself a little better, so you can communicate better and make better life decisions, more efficient decisions, better get where you want to be, and make decisions at more appropriate times as well. To also make sure that if you're not trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, let's say that, right? If you know what your strengths and your weaknesses are, you have to be aware of what your weaknesses are as well as your strengths, so that you know yourself. You know, you're aware of these things because you have particular strengths and weaknesses for a purpose. And that purpose is, you're meant to know that purpose so that you can best serve. Okay, serve the universe. And all right, we'll go into the specifics now. So it's important also to know that no one number is better than any other. So there are these numbers that are called master numbers, and it's like sort of facetious, right? But they are important numbers, but all of the numbers are important. They're all very powerful, and they're all important to understand. So yeah, it's important to know that there's not one number that's better than any other. So everything starts at this 0. And again, when we think back to what we learned about our sacred geometry, this is the starting point, where there's just that 0 point, where everything exists and nothing exists. So everything and nothing become one. This is before time and space even existed. This is pure potential, unlimited possibility. Before the Big Bang, you can imagine, pure source energy, and everything with a 0 after it is amplified, right? When you have a 0 before it, it doesn't mean
I
so
have a
much.
question.
Yeah, please.
How do you get 0? You never get 0.
Yes.
Well, we're talking about the numbers so like when you have 10, for example.
So that's not 0,
Right?
that's 1.
10 reduces to 1.
Right.
But you still have that 0 energy, and that means something. Because 10 is, although it does reduce to 1, 10 is different than 1. How does 10 different than 1? It's that 0 energy. So that means that 10 is like an amplified 1. It's the energy of 1, but amplified with the 0 of that pure potential, that just pure energy feeding into that 1 energy. So 10 is different.
So this is also true for 20, 30?
Yeah, exactly. Same for 20, 30, 40. Okay. 20 is just the energy of 2 that is amplified by 0.
Okay.
Even though it does reduce to a 2. So 2 is the core of its energy, but it is still not the same as a 2. And that's why it's more powerful. But yeah, with a 20, you can also have if a 20 is imbalanced, you have a worse imbalance than just a 2 being imbalanced, right? Because there's more energy flowing through a 20 than there is a 2. But anyway, so after the 0, we have the 1, right? So this is the energy of the father, or the pioneer, and this is where sort of everything starts. It's like the Aries energy in astrology. sort of. But it's like that also the energy of the sun, which is more like the Leo energy, right? It's a independent, confident energy, and everything comes from this. So there are like certain people that sort of represent this energy of the father or the pioneer. So like Nikola Tesla, Lady Gaga, these people kind of represent something new, something unique. They're bringing something completely unique in, something completely new. This is the energy of one, the energy of the new, the energy of the divine masculine, the energy of action, of being proactive, the natural leader, right? This is the energy of the creator. This is the energy of one, right? So once we understand this father energy, we can then go on to the two and understand what comes next, which is the mother energy, the energy of the moon. And this is a more sensitive energy. It's a very different energy. To give you an idea, so you can intuitively pick up on what this energy means, it helps to feel out some of these people that I'm giving as examples. So with that one energy, we have the energy of like Nikola Tesla and Lady Gaga and these certain pioneers, right? And then with the energy of two, we have people like Emma Watson, Orlando Bloom, Jennifer Aniston. These are people who are representing sort of like an empathic energy, an energy of what they want to represent is some sort of harmonious energy of bringing people together, of relationships. Everything is about relationships to the two. Everything's about just bringing people together and just having harmonious, loving, kind relationships, just giving people hugs, right? It's a very relatable energy and a down-to-earth energy, a very compassionate energy, an energy that is a good listener. If it's out of balance, it can be a little maybe manipulative because of the ability to be so good at listening and responding emotionally to what the other is feeling. Just like with the energy of one being out of balance, you can have a tendency to be frustrated or angry because of that intense, almost bulldozery sort of energy of that pioneer energy. Yes, but with that mother sensitivity energy of the two, you have the opposite of that, which is more like water, right? The energy of the moon is like water, and it takes the shape of its container, right? It doesn't force things. It is compassionate. It works with what it has. It bends. It doesn't break things in the same way. So it breaks things, but in a different way. So we'll go on now to the number 3.
Wait, Claire and Dawn have a question.
Please, yeah. What's the question?
Dawn?
I was just, when you talked about communication with different parts of yourself.
Yeah.
I wanted to understand a little more what you mean by self. Was there are parts of yourself, like, for example, the person, the ego versus the Atman?
Yeah. So I would say there are many fractals of who we are. And you can sort of zoom in and zoom out. And one fractal of who I am, I could say, is Shiv Mundkur. Another fractal of who I am, I could say, is my soul. Right? Another fractal of who I am, I could say, is my oversoul, which is even bigger than my individual soul and is connected to every single human being on this planet. Right? Another fractal of who I am is the oversoul of that, right? Which is connected to all beings. It's not even limited to humanity. right? So we have all these different fractals of who we are, and they're all communicating with one another. And this is, and we're all connected to all of these aspects of who we are, whether or not we are aware of it. They're all communicating with us through these bodies and through our minds. But yeah, this is the intuition aspect is just how we become aware of that communication and become aware of the language of the soul. Does that make sense? Being able to interpret that language is what the intuition is all about, and developing that capability.
It's interesting because it's, you know, in the essence of the non-dual philosophies like Advaita, the concept of a person is an identified individual claiming and desiring and fearing, and that person is the very denial of the larger self.
Yeah.
Really be communication there. There's more like a refusal to communicate in a sense.
Well, that would be if one is identifying with that, right? But you can also have a body and know that that body is not you. You can, in the same way, have an ego and know that that ego is not you, right?
Yes, agreed. I'm not sure about them communicating with one another.
Well, as long as the ego knows how to listen and it can take commands from, hopefully take commands from the higher selves, right? And if it's able to communicate with those higher selves, then it can move in the direction that is best for it and for all beings. But yeah, if the ego is sort of trying to take control, that's where we run into problems. If it's overriding the commands of the universe.
Right. Yeah. A kind of enlightened ego.
Yeah. It's you can like loosely hold on to it and be playing, like coming back into the game, right? That's what being a like a mystic is all about, right? Is sort of learning how to that you can like come back into the game with the knowledge of who you are.
Yeah.
And play a character and not have to identify with that character, but you're still playing a character.
Right. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
good.
and you kind of have to play that character if you want to be influencing the world. Because if you are not, then you have to be influencing the world in a very indirect way, right?
Yeah, right.
Because it's difficult to communicate with others and use a language that others can gain and glean information from, if you're sort of don't even really have a language that you can communicate with, and you need that belief system and sort of a language and ego structure in order to be able to communicate in that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like many times the communication simply requires the ego and the thinking mind to be quiet.
Yeah, if you, yeah, I mean, that's like the real communication. I mean, you don't even need language if you're able to communicate at that level. You know, but like if you want to be communicating with words, then you need the ego structure. But if you can communicate without words, like telepathically, essentially, you don't even really need a language. But that's a different kind of communication, and there are a lot of people you can't really reach with that.
Yeah. Okay.
People will feel it, but
Well,
they
not.
don't
Yeah.
really know what's going on.
I'm not thinking of communicating with people so much as communicating with the higher self.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if you're not so worried about like creating sort of a lasting impression, which is sort of an ego thing, one could say, then yeah, you don't really even need to be worried about having a language, and you can really just focus on that pure language of devotion that you don't you don't even really need to worry about language with that. You can just go directly into the feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a really amazing thing. But like, yeah, that's a different lifestyle, you know.
Well, it remains to be proved. I mean, I think that's the question. Can you live the life of a householder and still connect with the Atman, you know?
Yeah, I totally think you can. I think you can have this ego and play with having this ego and creating and destroying it. Like, as long as you don't hold too tightly to it, it's not so painful when it dies. So, like when you're, right, I mean, talking about it, right? Like, but like, what I mean is, you know, if you're not holding too tightly to your beliefs, it's not so painful when someone challenges them.
Right. You
Right.
develop a sense of humor and just laugh at it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm going to continue here. We get to, all right, I've got 15 minutes. We get to the number, sorry. Number 3. And the number 3 we went over a little bit. It's about communication and about expression. So it's very throat chakra centered. So the number 3 is very focused on that developing of the ability to communicate. And that's what, again, that Mercury energy is all about, that communication. Mercury is what connects the upper and the lower realms, and how the upper and the lower chakras are actually communicating with one another, how the upper and lower aspects, Mercury is what connects them. So Jupiter is what causes the expansion energy, and both of these planets are sort of associated with this energy of 3 and the energy of creativity, which is again that 1 plus 2, right? So we have 1 plus 2 is 3, and that father plus mother equals child. So we have this creativity, this fertility aspect coming in. Fertility, which is what? It's not just a child that is born from this creativity, it's art that is born from this creativity, right? So a lot of artists, a lot of performers come from this and have this 3 energy. So some examples are like Christina Aguilera, Jet Li, Jackie Chan, Chris Rock. Of course, these individuals all have different talents. Other than Jackie Chan and Jet Li, which I love them because I enjoy that sort of way of expressing myself also, and I admire that ability in them. But so all of these people will have some sort of a charm, some sort of a charisma, and they express themselves in a very particular and naturally creative way. And an individual with this life path of 3, or in any of those aspects, having that number 3, is able to express that love and joy that they have in their heart easily through their throat chakra. So 3 is a very social, engaging, creative energy. Let's get to the number 4 now, again, which comes after that 3 and is about stability. This energy of number 4 is about stability and strength and security. It's about the energy of both the Saturn and the Sun, and the Sun are integrated in this energy. Saturn is that sort of understanding karma and how to work with karma. So it's understanding the importance of discipline, of responsibility and hard work, that practical side of knowing that you need to put in the hard work, knowing you need to put in the energy, you need to put in the time, right? And that's why people who have this 4 energy tend to be good at whatever they do because they put in the hard work. A typical example would be someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Leonardo da Vinci, even Donald Trump is actually a 4 path. Of course, you gotta love mentioning Donald Trump, but hey, I love you guys. Don't want to get into politics, but here, So let's stick with the other two, huh? We got Leonardo da Vinci and Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Who's putting in all that time into developing this, perfecting this skill. It's these incredible skills come out of the hours and hours of discipline and hard work that these people are putting in to developing this incredible skill that they have, building this empire. And that's why this energy is known as sort of the builder energy, the architect energy. This is the energy of the number 4. So then we have the number 5 after this, which is the energy of the rebel. This is the energy of the one who prioritizes freedom and just experience. And it's sort of like a turning point energy. And the planet, I think that would most encompass this energy would be Uranus. And this is the planet that is sort of like the revolutionary planet, right? It brings in that revolutionary energy, those revolutionary ideas, because the person with this energy 5 can see the problems more clearly than other people. They see the darkness. They can see through what most people overlook. It's a few people that encompass this energy are like Abraham Lincoln and Malcolm X, to give you an example. This serious revolutionary energy of people that are seeing almost like from a futuristic point of view to such a degree, it brings a intensity, a rebellious energy in where it's very deep, a very deep energy, and it creates massive waves because these people are able to create this revolutionary shift if they're able to embrace this energy. If you're not able to embrace this energy, it can sort of lead to someone who's an outcast, feeling like an outcast, almost like a table with five legs on it, right? Like, what's that 5th leg for? Right? Who needs the 5th leg, right? But the 5th leg right here is having this purpose of sort of shifting, creating this shift, right? It has a purpose. We need to see that purpose. The purpose is freedom. The purpose is change. So we come to next, the number 6.
Do you want to take a couple questions?
Yeah, are there questions?
Yes.
Please.
Naveen, you want to ask your questions first?
Okay, yeah, sure. Hi, Shiva. Yeah, do all the collective egos represent a virtual reality world? In reality, is it just the one higher self?
That's an interesting question. Are you saying, are all of the egos collectively one thing, and are all the higher selves collectively one thing?
Basically, we always hear like the ego is false, right? It's a false ego. So, but it represents, like as you were saying before, like some sort of, we have these interactions between egos, and in that sense, if it's a false ego, then it's a false virtual reality world of false egos, so then the question is, what is reality? And if you realize your higher self, maybe there's then just that one higher self as the reality.
Yeah, I mean, this is where you come into this discussion of like artificial intelligence, right? And like, right? Because you're getting into not just artificial intelligence in terms of machine intelligence, but artificial intelligence in terms of us literally copying each other.
Yeah, exactly. So then there's virtual reality in terms of AI, which is what is going to happen now very soon, which is that you won't be able to distinguish the outside world with whatever these bodily or material characters versus an actual virtual AI world where there'll just be other characters, but inside a computer simulation, right? So you
Yeah.
can't distinguish between the two. But the only thing that's constant in both of these virtual reality worlds, or whatever we want to call them, is that we still have our higher self. And so is
Yeah.
that the only reality? I don't know the answer.
I mean, I think that like we're creating like a mirror of the mirror, basically, is what we're doing with this whole AI world that we're creating, which is like we're already projecting into this world from what is real, which is what you're talking about, is like our collective higher self, sort of like God, essentially. Like we're projecting from there into this world, and then we're now creating an alternate reality where people who aren't happy because they haven't discovered themselves here are projecting themselves into this alternate reality, artificial world that is, we're already in the artificial world. We're already in this holographic world, and we're projecting into another one that we've built inside of it, which is so funny. But yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, so then if we're projecting, as you said, this world is projecting from our source. How do, because basically we have to get back to our source.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, I just wanted, I mean, that's basically what we have to try to get to through meditation or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know if it's necessary to entirely get rid of the shadow, or if it's necessary to just embrace it. I don't think there is really getting rid of it. I think at this point, the experiment has come to this point where now where this artificial world seems to be coming. It seems to be coming in, and our choice now is, do we go fully into that? Do we go back to who we really are, or do we sort of embrace both? And I don't know where we're going. I'm definitely going towards my real self, but I'm also, to some degree, embracing the artificial. As you can see, creating this internet-based thing, like, I think there is a benefit to it, just as much as there is a drawback, or maybe more. I don't know. It's hard to judge. You know what I mean? You following me?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Claire and Don and Naveen both had a common question about Donald Trump being a stable genius, question mark.
Well, everybody has a right to their own opinion.
Bad move.
Well, I mean, he's coming as that builder.
We now have numerology,
energy, right?
We have numerology.
Who knows what his other energies are? This is just one of the many energies that one has. But
do you arrive at him being a 4 by doing the calculation, by translating?
Coming by his birth, yeah.
Sure.
His birthday.
Because I'm a 4 too.
Oh, hey, awesome. I can tell that. I can feel that. You're a very stable energy, that's for sure.
But I have so little in common with my other namesake.
Who, Donald Trump?
You should remember that there are 7 billion people, so there are only 9 numbers. So out of those, each one is representing about close to 1 billion or a little less than 1 billion.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, you have, everyone has more than one energy, but these are, it's like your astrology, right? Where it's telling you something about why you came in and what your strengths and weaknesses are. Doesn't necessarily mean that everybody is following their life path. But yeah, I mean, chances are, if you're really feeling like you're succeeding in life, you're likely following your life path. If you're getting that feeling of success. So anyway, let's get on to number 6. So number 6, we have, what time is it? Oh, oh my gosh.
It's time.
All right, I'll keep going. Are there any other questions before I keep going? No, okay. All right, I'll keep going for a bit. Number 6, we have 6 is all about love, unconditional love. It's like the heart energy, the energy of unconditional love, of the energy of Venus. Venus is like that open heart, that compassion, that empathy. And it's all about understanding relationships and how to achieve balance. So a few examples of people who represent this energy. A really good example is John Lennon. He really comes through strongly as that 6 energy. And you even have people like James Dean and Justin Timberlake, right? People that are really bringing a strong Venus energy through that people can really feel. And it drives the ladies wild, let me tell you. Anyway, but so it's a very romantic energy, right? That's why the ladies like it, yeah? So it's a protective, it's a supportive, a hopeful energy, that heart energy, it really prioritizes relationships. Relationships are the priority. Understanding relationship, experiencing the relationship, developing a strong, intimate relationship. Not like lots of little relationships so much, but more developing strong and intimate, close relationships and understanding the value of that. So that's what 6 is all about. And then 7 is what we come to next. And that's all about the intellectual understanding, the truth seeker, the one who is always intellectually expanding and seeking spiritual wisdom and able to explain it. So you have people like Winston Churchill and Muhammad Ali, people whose quotes have come through time because their quotes are so profound and just powerful. And they hit you strong because there's a truth and a wisdom in what they're saying, a depth. They're speaking from an experience, and not just an experience, but a depth of understanding of the wisdom of that experience. Because this 7 person really has understood and processed their karma, processed this experience to be able to actually intellectually communicate it. So that's the profound energy of Neptune coming through. Neptune is the planet of, it's the most spiritual planet. So Neptune is where we get that deep spiritual wisdom from. And so that's the planet that number 7 most resonates with. I'll finish this slide and then I think we may have to call it a day and get to the next slides next time. What do you think? Unless you all want to be here for another 30 minutes but okay. Let me just finish number 8. So we get to number 8 next. And this is the energy of empowerment, or pure power, really. And the energy of transformation. It's the transformational energy. It's the energy of what is actually coming in to transmute that karma. And that's the energy of Pluto, Saturn. Pluto is like the septic system of the universe. I hate to put it that way, but it's like really is, because what septic systems do, right, is they turn waste into nutrition. That's literally what a septic system is doing. It's turning something that's pure waste into nutrients for the soil. And that's what this Pluto energy is all about. And the Saturn energy is about that karmic understanding and that karmic balance, and the hard work, ambitious. Those who master this number 8 life path really get that material abundance. So some would say that they're lucky, but like they have to work really hard to get that spiritual abundance, because material abundance isn't necessarily what you always want. But it's easy to say when you don't have, when you have that material abundance. But so I guess there are certain people like Elizabeth Taylor and 50 Cent, right? 50 Cent is a rapper. Elizabeth Taylor is that one who created like a fashion empire, right? And these are people who really strongly resonate with that energy of 8, of that fully empowered, materially individual. Yeah, so I think for now, I'll take any questions on numbers 0 through 8, and then we'll get to the rest of the numbers next time and go on from there. Are there any questions?
Shiv, if I have 18 for the destiny number, am I supposed to drop the 1 or the 8 or something?
So 18 will reduce to number 9.
Okay.
So that 9 will be your destiny number. Which,
Can you share
we want to go over 9? We'll go over number 9 right now, huh? Okay, so 9 is the energy of universal love, of letting go. It's the energy of completion. So it's not like the end, because there's no end, but it is the end. It is the end of a cycle. And it's sort of representing the energy of Mars in terms of the planetary energy. But really what it's representing is that universal love energy. So it's the energy of awakening. And people who have mastered this life path energy, they can see beyond the veil. They can see the dark side of life, and they thrive in that darkness and can create from that space. So people who represent this energy are people like Bob Marley, Elvis Presley, Kurt Cobain, Jim Carrey. These are people who are aware of their pain, and they've used their pain in order to create incredible art from it that has influenced the world in really powerful ways. And that really represents this number 9 energy. So, okay, we've gone through numbers 1 through 9. I'll just quickly finish this. Number 0, again, we have combining number 1 and 0, right? So we have that 1 energy again, but we have also that energy of 0. So 10 has the energy of 1, but it is amplified by that power of the number 0, of that potential energy, pure potential energy of the number 0. That's why 10 is just simply a more powerful number than 1. Then we have the master numbers, the number 11, 22, and 33. So number 11, again, we have number 11, and we can keep it as number 11. And what that means is that it represents the number 1 and the number 2, which is 1 plus 1. Again, we have 2. So it's sort of like 1 and 2, but a really intense number 2. So we have number 1 and 2, right? So we have the number of the father and the mother energy embraced in this number 11, the energy of the sun and the moon. right? That's why the people call 11 a master number. And it's basically like a very intense 1 and 2 energy. Then we have the number 22, again, which is another master number, and it represents the energy of 2 as well as the energy of 4. And we have the master number 33, which represents the number 3 as well as the number 6. So we can talk maybe more about these master numbers another time. But I wanted to give here one more example. If you have number 121, this is wrong here. If you have number 120, you have 1 plus 2 plus 0, and that's 3. But it's also 1 plus 2 plus 0. So you have the 3. So it's basically like a 12 that's empowered by 0. Right? So, but it's a 3 also. So it's like the number 1 and the number 2 and the number 0 and 3. And that's why 120 is a powerful number. This is wrong. It's not 121. Sorry. We have that. You can also use numerology with words. So you have the word love, L-O-V-E.
Shiv,
Again,
you know, I have a question. How do you get 120? 120 is such a large number, you will never get that.
Oh, you can use any number. So like you can even use a date, right? So we used our birthday, which is a long number, right? 0705-1989. That's a bunch of numbers, right?
Right, but it will never add up to 120 though.
Yeah, I know. That's why 120 is 3. And 120 and 3 numerologically are representing a similar energy. But 120 is basically like a higher fractal order of number 3. So 120 is a number. It does reduce down to the number 3 in terms of interpreting the number 120, but that 120 is also a frequency of its own. What we're doing when we're reducing the number 120 down to number 3 is trying to understand the number 120 and how it's different actually from the number 3. So 120 is not the number 3. 120 and 3 are different. How do we understand the difference between the number 120 and the number 3? We have to understand 1, 2, 0, and 3, and how they all combine together. Then we understand the number 120. Does that make sense? But 120 is a different number, right? We can have the number 15,463, right? And that's a number of its own also, right? And to understand that,
I know, but no date of birth will add up to 120.
You don't have to use this only with date of births numerologically. You don't have to use, you can use this with any number. I'm trying to tell you this numerology is a bigger thing than just using it on your birthday.
Oh, okay.
Right? So you can use it for anything. You can use it for any number, and you can use it for any word. And that's why I'm showing you also a word. The word love, for example, right, is 3 plus 6 plus 4 plus 5, which reduces down to 18, which reduces to number 9, which is that universal love energy.
Okay.
Right? So you can reduce anything down to its numerological frequency. And all that this is doing is helping us to understand the frequency of the word or the frequency of the number that is in question, so that we can get the intuitive message that is coming from that frequency. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. So are there any questions?
No.
No questions. Wow. Okay.
Oh my God, it's scary.
Scary? What, too much math?
Yeah, too much
Too many
math.
adding? Too much adding?
Too much adding and too much thinking. Jiten is a math teacher, math professor.
No, you know, I mean, I had tremendous knowledge of numerology. 50 years ago, I read Cheerios books and all of that. I used to do numerology at that time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome.
And Naveen is another one, intellectual.
Yeah, this is just like a basic introduction to numerology. It goes very deep. Goes very deep. And you can apply it to everything in order to change the way that you're thinking and receive many, many more messages from your intuition. But again, this is just one. So we're going to go over more ways in future chakra chats.
Shiv, you're gonna put it on the recording, right? So I'm gonna listen to it again to just register in my mind.
Yes, I'll post it.
I have to listen to it many times.
There's a lot of information.
Oh, it's just too much.
Yeah, I understand. If it's all new information, it's a lot of information. If you've kind of have some of this information already, maybe I'm just connecting a few dots, or maybe you know more than me. Who knows? A lot of people out there know this information already.
Somebody else is asking a question. Let me see. No, he just said thank you, Naveen Goyal. That's it. Namaste, thank you. Happy weekend.
All right, so I think if we don't have any more questions, we'll end here, and we'll come back next time to go over some more chakra chat info. All right.
Thank you, Shiv. Have a great day.
Thank you all so much.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Shiv.
Thank you. I hope you all enjoyed it.
It was fun in spite of
Understand.
in spite of the Dimag chat now. Like we say in Hindi. It was good, Shiv. Very good.
Good. Okay.